I feel like them coming out and saying I'm comfortable in my own body while they're like thick. So.
And there's a line of conversation now that's it's really going in the direction of appearance, which we can totally keep going because that's really a lot of what the last 3 ads had you focus on. And this weekend, your DDW is going to be about selecting an ad that you really think does a good job at countering some of the stereotypes we saw.
Well, for the first one, for the Dr. Parker one, he was like speaking like recklessly, and like he was really wild. And then for the Old Spice one, he was like really confident. Like you can tell he was really confident. But then for the one with women, I don't wait. Was the woman say anything?
It was like someone was. She was always looking in the mirror.
Yeah, so like she was just always like looking in the mirror and stuff. Like she didn't say anything at all, and that says a lot. So like guys are like more confident and more wild and reckless, and are like able to be reckless. But like for the woman, she was speechless, and there was a man speaking over her like while she was like doing actions.
But we have to consider like the time period to which they look like the advertisement was really. Do you remember like the advertisement like based on the video like it was telling me or decades ago. So like you have to consider like how gender norms were like established then and like how rigid they are in comparison to now. So it might be different. We don't know. But from what we can see there, like we're comparing like a very very old video versus like a more modern day video. So like there's gonna be clear differences between the two.
I think like even like within the differences, like they still show women like being like just lesser than men, period. Because like I'm sure if you would have looked at a commercial from the 1950s with like men, it would have like still been wild. And like they had like commercials with the kid for the Play-Doh, I don't know what it's called, for
Moon Sand.
for the moon sand, and like in the for the one that was trying to sell for guys, like it was like reckless. They had like this crazy rock in the back, music going on in the background, and the guy was like, "Yeah, come here, get this." But then for the one, the princess, the mermaid princess, it was like soft, like, "Oh, you can look. She has these sea creatures riding her here," and like it was like really soft and calm and stuff. Like it was still engaging, but like it wasn't like wild in the face, like the one for the guys. And the colors were like mainly pink and like turquoise, while for the guys it was like red and orange and gray.
I would say that the advertisement for the moon sand for the like boy side was kind of like it kind of sent this message of like build and destroy things, where the girl was like, oh, build these pretty sand seashells, and it's all pretty and princessy and it's cute. But for the guy, it was like build, destroy, knock down.
Touching on what Melina said, I agree. I feel like in order to like talk to like a little kid, like to a boy, you need to be like more like dominant with them. You need to be able to stand your ground and like be like enforcing, like being able to, like really like stand your ground against a little kid as a boy, because he's childish, he wants to play around, he wants to be foolish. But with a girl, it's like you could easily tell them to go do something and then they'll listen. And it's like, that's what I feel like the commercial is trying to portray. Like,
Do you think that they're like born this way, like just guys are like normally like just hard-headed and like women like just are obedient, or do you think that that's how like they were raised?
that's a social norm. That's what's expected from us.
I feel like we're not born that way. We're like it's based on environment, like your parents, how they raise you. Like for an example, a boy could the social stereotype is like boys growing up with like, oh, destruct this or whatever, like be mean or like try to be like tough in a sense. But like if your parent, if like your father and your mother, or other preferences, like raise you to be this like nice person, and mind you, the son is a boy, then he will grow up to be a person who's nice to others. It just reflects on how the parent is like raising you.
What connections can you draw from if you looked at the moon sand and you thought carefully about tone and color and music for the girl advertisement of moon sand and then the boy advertisement, and then think about like the Old Spice commercial, which many of you have said targeting men, but sort of also there's a subtext about women buying the product for their men. What are some connections you can draw across like a product being advertised for young boys and then a product being advertised for men in terms of design and composition of the ad itself? Yeah, I think maybe also like putting the ads next to each other would also help. Like, what was the tone in the Old Spice commercial? What colors were used in the Old Spice commercial? What colors are on Old Spice in general? And then, are we potentially advertising for young boys in a similar way as we're advertising to products to men? Are there differences or similarities?
I guess like for the Old Spice, it's like it has similar ideas as the moon sand for boys, but the difference was like it was a more mature look to it. So it was like it was still quiet in the commercial, but then you still had the salt thing. So like there was still like that reckless aspect to it, and like the hardcore, like the parkour jumping and all of that. I guess that's what you would see as the reckless.
The Dr. Pepper commercial made me think of the Moon Sand commercial, and I'm not sure we're advertising Dr. Pepper to like small children, but maybe we are.
I think that's the thing though, like you never know who's watching those kinds of ads. Like if you just put it on TV, it could be a 2-year-old watching that TV program, or a mom and a dad, or just like anyone.
So we can move to thinking about subtext and kind of giving ourselves a chance to think ahead to what we will be writing a DDW about. I asked you to think about subtext and why they're powerful, and give an example of an advertisement you've seen that you think has a subtext. So this might be a place where you wrote about one that defies and breaks down gender stereotypes, or maybe you wrote about an ad that just has a subtext that's sort of neutral, like it, makes me want to buy fabric softener because I care about my clothes.
Wait, you're asking about the personal ad?
Yes, so this is like on page 2 after I had you read a little bit about subtext. And the second question was, give an example of a popular advertisement you have seen recently that you think has a subtext. So if you haven't spoke a lot and could share, Jonathan.
What? I don't know. I don't watch TV.
So that's what you wrote there? I don't watch TV.
I just wrote what the subtext went. That's it. I don't watch TV.
Start there then. Give us why are subtexts, what are they and why are they powerful?
Well, I said they're like a secret message inside of the ad. And I said it's powerful because they can help viewers or customers think a certain way about themselves.
So super powerful. Advertisers love them. What just happened there? Okay, never mind. I just flipped it. Okay, thank you for giving us that. Now that second part. And if you don't watch TV, you still see advertisements like on Facebook, online. They don't have to be like video advertisements. They could just be print advertisements. You see them on the subway, so you can think more expansively about like ads that you see around like yourself in your world. Who has an example?
So, growing up, I saw like a lot of Power Ranger ads. And so with these Power Ranger ads, like even though they're female Power Rangers, or some cases like just one Power Ranger that's a female out of the whole thing, like they're never really shown in the commercials and stuff. And like I said that the subtext that's shown for like the Power Rangers commercials is that like the only way to defeat evil is to, like with swords and megazords and like using violence rather than like talking about it or trying to appease them. Like they're